So here's an updated video on Ari's sidewalk. As you can see, my sister has gotten out quite a few of her little gewgaws. We set the trellis up here for the morning glories because where they were back at the start of the walk, it gets shade in the early afternoon. And then my sister would complain that she couldn't see the morning glories. So here's one of the TP-style greenhouses. Got these from Aldi. And you can see some of the dahlias are quite enthusiastic, and some of them are kind of poking along. But it takes a while for them to come up. So I feel it's a lot of work, but starting them ahead of time is worth it, because imagine waiting this long for them after you put them in the ground. After frost, which is technically Memorial Day weekend. Andrea's new rose bush. And this little guy, he has several shoots coming up. So when I dig that, there'll probably be separate clumps of roots. My sister didn't think we had enough Sweet Williams already. And then these guys, I dug up from an area that's gotten weedy and going to be weed whacked. So there's columbine and sedum autumn joy, which will get the flowers. They get big flowers and they turn like brick red in the fall. They're kind of pretty. And also, because she didn't think we had enough May night salvia, she loves blue salvia. So we have another one just waiting to go into some spot. And then this is the bigger greenhouse. It's 2 feet by 4 feet. And as you can see, it has shelves. So I can put the seed flats in here. And then things on these shelves are cannas. Because my sister wanted canna lilies. And yeah, that's a little fuchsia that I got, waiting to go into a pot. I think this guy at the end here is dahlias. And of course the overachiever is the one that goes under the shelf, so just kind of leaned over there trying to work around it. See this one in the middle, all that space to grow up? It's like, what, 3 inches high? And then here's this guy, some canna lilies from seedlings that I overwintered. Another dahlia, my little work bucket that I got for Mother's Day, and another flat of seeds. And my other favorite thing is garden seat, which is turned on its side, so if it rains, the seat doesn't get wet. So this is the rose on her trellis, which she shares with the 2 plants over here. This one is a clematis that'll be blue and kind of fringy. And this hefty guy with the red stems is honeysuckle fragrant cloud. You can see I've got to kind of work some of these into the trellis because they're just kind of self-supporting though. And here, of course, is everybody's favorite rose bush. And you can see she's got buds on. They're not as easy to see when I'm showing them to you on a video, but she's got a good amount of buds on. So I expect blooms from her like the first week of June maybe. She's, let's see, put her in at 21. So she's 3 years old, maybe 4 if you count from the nursery age. And yeah, she's doing pretty good. And as you can see, the daffodils have died back. Those purple ones are flowering alliums. They're related to onions. Probably don't taste as good though. The little tiny mini purple rhododendron is kind of starting to go by. Another light. And these guys can come in all kinds of shapes and sizes. But these are one of the more common varieties. And here we have a late bloomer of an allium next to a German bearded iris that's just about to open up. I'll try to get another video in when it does. And things whose names I can't even think of. There's some Monarda. This one I think is another salvia. And they're all blue, all of them. There's more Sweet William there popping up along the fence. Pen stem in there, the red-leaved guy in the back. Monarda or bee balm. They get red flowers usually, depending on the variety you get. Here's a little stray peony that I can't exactly explain, but it looks like a peony. Chives. Yes, they are culinary, but they're also pretty, so I threw them in here just for fun. This is this tiny little guy with the kind of chartreuse leaves with the sun in the back of them is Weigelia, and it gets little red flowers on its little red self. Hechera, couldn't tell you the variety, but they're semi-evergreen, which makes them kind of nice in winter in areas like this. And here is some more Monarda and flax coming up. Not quite ready to bloom yet. And the wagon wheel by the rose bush that I think really has died this time. It keeps threatening. And I think this is it. There is some lemon thyme. It tastes so much better than the regular thyme. And this big happy bundle of joy is a blue columbine, which apparently is really happy with where I've put it because it's over 3 feet tall. Well, the flowers are over 3 feet up. And this little azalea is probably going to get put in the ground this year, and probably just on the other side of this chair that has more of my sister's walkway gewgaws and the yard lights. There is a rhododendron named Sweet Azalea. She's going to be a little bigger, so I still haven't quite settled on a place to put her. She's kind of recovering. I had her over here in this corner next to the fence, between the two fences, and it's semi-shaded most of the day. Semi or full. And they're supposed to appreciate a bit of shade, but she was not happy. So as you can see, the lilacs are still going gangbusters. I hope to get out here maybe tomorrow, pick a bunch of flowers to cook with. You can make tea with them, which then you turn into jelly or whatnot. Also, I saw somebody just dried the flowers in a dehydrator. And of course, yes, another one of her wind spinners. This little rose bush, autumn damask, needs, I'm going to pound those stakes in and then put a wagon wheel in between them. My lilies popping right up there. And a weedy mess over here where it's along with some daylilies. You can tell who's been getting the attention and who hasn't. Here is a lupine getting ready to flower. You can tell by these very distinctive leaves. Also by the flowers that look like stalks of pea vines. This poor little thing needs to get weeded before it gets completely buried. And here is Baptisia australis, also known as false indigo. It's a prairie plant. It takes a little time to get settled. This is its 3rd year here. But once they do, they're just about impossible to dig out because their roots are just so, they make this really massive fibrous mass. And they have beautiful, beautiful dark blue flowers. The common name is false indigo because you can actually use them for dye. Here's a lower branch on this guy with all her pretty little lilacs. And there's some kind of wild honeysuckle there next to the white lilac, which, as you can see, got a bit overgrown because people don't always like to have them pruned, and then kind of fell over. So we got to get those big, overgrown, fallen over branches of it out, hopefully this fall. I don't want to do it now because by now there's birds nesting in it. And here I found this old baker's rack falling apart. I had my brother put a piece of scrap wood on for the countertop part of it. And it's in the shade between two good-sized lilac bushes and an old barn. So even though it was hot yesterday, I sat out here, used my little wagon to cart them back and forth, and got most of my seeds planted. This one's just waiting for the rest of the marigolds. You have to soak marigold seed, not marigolds, I'm sorry, morning glories. You have to soak your morning glory seeds and butterfly peas and sweet peas. They all have a hard coat, and that makes it harder for them to sprout. They have to be soaked. So soaking them overnight was enough to crack some of them, including the moonflower vine. But the other ones are still soaking. I picked out the good ones. And this is Bobby. Can you guess why my brother named him Bobby? That's right. Somebody cut his tail off. He came like that. We don't know what happened to him. He showed up when they were digging out here to put in a new septic field, which is, I don't know, someplace within this area. And the guy digging the trench stops and said, "Your cat's in the trench." And Daniel's like, "I don't have a cat." But he jumps down in and gets him out. They go back to digging. The guy stops again. "Your cat's in the trench again." So, turned into Daniel's cat. This is Pyrrhus japonica mountain fire. You can see the bright red, well, kind of dark red, new leaves coming out on it. That was semi-evergreen. I don't know if that's because it didn't get that cold over the winter, because it can get wicked cold here. Here's some more miscellaneous alliums, along with the daffodils that I've put in this bed to fill in. There's a butterfly bush here in the back. Butterfly bush is kind of marginal here in Zone 5, especially since we occasionally do things like have, just one Zone 4 day will kill them. When it went to minus 22 a couple of years ago, just one day, didn't get above zero for a couple of days, but we can handle that. But minus 22, I lost some perennials that are supposed to survive in Zone 5. There's a viburnum getting ready to blossom. Viburnums are all pretty and mostly edible. Some of them aren't edible just because of the taste, more than the being toxic or anything. In the background, you might be able to see that is blue vervain. It'll get tall, slightly weedy looking with tall blue flower spikes, and they're medicinally useful. Here's another Weigelia. This guy will get a lot bigger than the little one in the other flower bed. So, and I can't think of this guy's name, but it's here.